don't hate the mainstream media nearly enough as you should. I have said that many, many times, and that is because the mainstream media has a very particular agenda, one that goes against Israel and makes Israel out to be like they're the worst things or people on the face of the earth. It is a particular narrative that is one bred in hate, one that props up Islam first and foremost and goes against Judaism or Christianity. They love to lie, especially the BBC. My goodness me, the BBC, the headlines that these dingbats run, I have no idea how they are still funded. I guess it's because the government somewhat funds them. Is that correct, my UK audience members? Because they really need to be defunded. My goodness me. So this headline is a total fabrication, a total lie. So Gazan woman flown to Italy dies of malnutrition. So if you are a regular, ordinary human being and you're looking at the news one morning and you see this headline, you'd be like, oh no, this is shocking. How could Israel be starving Gazan people? But really, the truth of the story, the truth of the actual headline, which I pretty much should fix, Gazan woman dies of acute leukemia, not of malnutrition, leukemia. Leukemia was the cause of death. Now, the BBC wants to play on this story to make Israel look out to be like they are really starving people in Gaza, which we know is not true. Why in the world does the mainstream media get away with lying? I don't know. But you know what? These people are just useful idiots for Hamas, aren't they? The useful propaganda machine, the useful idiots promoting lies nonstop and making Israel out to be like they are the worst thing in the world, and they are not. To me, it is disingenuous, and it's also very dangerous to continuously paint Israel to be like they are the aggressors and they are the worst. It is wrong. It is unacceptable. And man, these journalists should know better. Don't they take an integrity course or something along those lines? Gee, I don't know, but they have a responsibility. I have a responsibility to tell the truth all the time. Sure, you may get certain facts wrong from time to time, but actually go back and correct them, which I do. These people don't. When will you stop acting as a Hamas mouthpiece, BBC? Your own article says she likely had a serious congenital disease, leukemia. So why not reflect that in your headline? Because you are a puppet for a radical Islamist terror group. Yes, exactly right. Here is the medical report, ladies and gentlemen, with leukemia circled right there. Patient needs to, she needs urgent care, urgent flow. She needs basically to have chemotherapy done. Otherwise, she's gone. But the headline that the BBC changed to malnourished Gazan woman flown to Italy dies in hospital. A Gazan woman who was evacuated to Italy for treatment while severely emaciated has died in hospital. The 20-year-old, identified as Mara Abu Zuri, flew to Pisa with her mother on an overnight flight on Wednesday under a scheme set up by the Italian government. The University Hospital Pisa said she suffered a cardiac arrest and died on Friday, less than 48 hours after arriving. It said she had a very complex clinical picture and had suffered severe loss of weight and muscle. Italian news agencies reported she was suffering from severe malnutrition. Italian. Okay, right. So let me get this straight. She has leukemia. That's all part of it. She has a complex clinical condition, which does, by the way, contribute to you being malnourished. That's what leukemia does. It strips your muscle. It strips everything from you. Don't believe me? Look it up. And secondly, I knew a young boy that had leukemia, and it literally tore his body apart. It's a horrible disease. And obviously, it contributes to your muscle fibers around your heart because your heart is a muscle. So evidently, because she's so malnourished, because she's in survival mode, what's going to happen, do you think? And by the way, they didn't mention the mother being malnourished, which should indicate certain things, shouldn't it? Kogat, the Israeli military body in charge of aid, said on Sunday that she had suffered from leukemia. In a statement, it said Israel facilitates the medical transfer of patients with a focus on children and encourages countries around the world to make such requests. So Israel was the one that shipped her out, helping her. But yet, let's paint the picture, mainstream media, that she is the one that was malnourished by the hateful Israel. Goodness me, the UN has warned of widespread malnutrition in Gaza. Here we go. With experts backed by the organization warning last month in a report that the worst case scenario of famine is playing out in Gaza, which is a downright and utter lie. They have not been there themselves. Israel has denied there is starvation in Gaza and accused UN agencies of not picking up aid at the borders and delivering it because you know what happens. Hamas steals it as well, and the UN agencies are too scared to actually pick it up because then Hamas will come out and wipe them out. More than 180 children and adults have been brought to Italy since the start of Israel's war with Gaza. 31 patients and their companions arrived in Rome, Milan, and Pisa this week, all with serious congenital diseases, wounds, or amputations, the Italian Foreign Ministry said. Meanwhile, British MPs urged the government to bring sick and injured children from Gaza to the UK without delay, weeks after the British Prime Minister Keir Starmer promised to set up an evacuation scheme. The Home Office said it intends to evacuate a few hundred children from Gaza at pace and that biometric tests must be carried out before children and carers can be allowed in the UK. Indeed. That makes sense, right? The Israeli ministry said it will start providing Gaza City residents with tents and other equipment from Sunday before relocating them to safer zones. The statement came days after Israel's government announced troops would occupy Gaza City, several days of heavy bombardment. The largest district in the city has since followed. A spokesperson from the municipality told the BBC that the situation in Zetoun was catastrophic, with mass displacement taking place after 6 days of relentless Israeli strikes, shelling, and demolition operations. At least 36 people have been killed in Israeli strikes on Saturday, according to Gaza's Hamas-run health ministry, which you can definitely trust Gaza's Hamas-run health ministry, ladies and gentlemen, because we know how accurate that is. So Gazan doctors said she has leukemia. Israeli doctors, she has leukemia. Italian doctors, she has leukemia. The medical report, she died of leukemia. The BBC, Israel starved her to death. How crazy is that? Again, I will say it in closing, you don't hate the mainstream media nearly enough as you should. The propaganda machine in favor of Hamas is honestly insane. And I'm getting sick and tired. I don't know about you guys, but I'm sick and tired of having to do the actual truthful work. You know why? Because the mainstream media has a massive audience, bigger than me. And you know what I'm having to do? I'm having to correct them. I shouldn't have to correct the mainstream media. I'm a small fish, small fry. My voice doesn't get nearly as many views as what the BBC does or any mainstream media outlet at the moment. And yet I'm having to correct them. I'm sick of having to correct them. I shouldn't have to. It should just be, you know what? I report on it and it's like, it's true. But no, I'm having to correct them on things. The truth matters, especially in today's day and age. But these dingbats don't care about the truth. They want to paint Israel as being like the worst, the enemy of the West. They're not. Tell the truth, damn it. At least for once in your damn lives, tell the truth. And you can't tell me that this wasn't on purpose. It was definitely on purpose. This was coordinated and planned because you have multiple reports from the UN saying, oh, there's a starvation crisis in Gaza, which we know that has been disproven by multiple sources, by multiple journalists that have actually been there, and by multiple photos. You can always tell Hamas, the Palestinian people, may be struggling a little bit, for sure. No doubt about that. But blame Hamas, not Israel. They're the ones to blame here, not Israel. Anyway, that's enough from me, but you guys take care, be blessed, and I'll see you all in the next video.